everybody? Welcome back to the rePORTER Show. As always, I got my co-host with me, Devin Acosta over here on my left, and Josh Tucker over here on my right. Sports are starting to slow down now since basketball is done. All we got left is baseball, softball, golf, and track. And golf is always at the beginning of the week, so a lot of their tournaments get carried over into the next show. So I think this week we only had men's golf. I know women's golf will be headed to, I believe, Nevada. Make sure I got that information correct. Actually, I'm wrong on that. Don't know why I said Nevada. I must have seen Nevada somewhere in my notes earlier, but they'll be headed to Oklahoma City starting next week to start off their tournament. So the men's was the only golf going on this week. But I'm gonna go ahead and start it off with baseball, man. They had a midweek matchup to start off the week against Angelo State, which is a D2 team. They are ranked in the top 15 in the nation in D2. And so I'm gonna ask y'all this question. All right. If you are going into a weekend where you got a pretty tough matchup in conference, would you rather have a game where you can feel good, or would you rather have a game where you got to struggle?
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I hate to say it, but I'm going to feel good route.
I'm going to feel good. What about you?
Feel good, because you want confidence.
Yeah.
You want that momentum going into. You don't want to go into a big conference game off a loss.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. And that was my thinking as well, but due to some cancellations earlier in the season, they wanted to schedule another game, a midweek game, and we ended up scheduling Angelo State, which to me, when I saw that, I don't ever want to say, I don't want to count nobody out before it even happens. But to me, from previous experiences, Angelo State ain't nobody to play with.
But they're normally a pretty solid, they're a known program.
They are known for that. Angelo State and West Texas are they're the best programs in West Texas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
just to be real with you. In West Texas, we got about 4 colleges, maybe?
Yeah.
So out of them 4 colleges, West Texas and Angelo State, you don't want to play them. They in the same conference, they play each other all the time, and they're a really good competition. And I was thinking to myself, that ain't what you want going into a series where you playing MACU, who is also a nationally ranked team in the NAIA, and they number 1 in conference. Yeah. I want to have some confidence. I want to go out there and go crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and break this one down for y'all so y'all can see what happened. Like I said, it was a tough midweek matchup, man. They came out as expected. They were swinging the bats, and they got it going early. They went up on us 4-0 after the first inning. They continued to score into the 5th inning. We finally put up a 0, but at that time it was 10-2, Angelo State. This was really a blowout, to say the least. We lost this one 14-2, and we didn't get many hits. I know Cooper was 2 for 3 in this game. Gustavo was 1 for 1 with the RBI. And I think Samuel hit a home run, a solo shot. But that was the only offense that we really had. Like I said, it was 14-2.
Wasn't much offense going on.
Yeah,
we scored 2 runs.
And it was one of those situations where I was thinking to myself, like, listen, I know you want to challenge the team. I understand the purpose.
Because as a coach, you want confidence in your team. And then if you win that game, the amount of confidence that you get going into that game, like, you think you're on top of the world at that point.
Yeah, you are.
It's a risk.
It is a risk. It's like a 50-50.
High risk, high reward.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. I like that. High risk, high reward. That's right. You hit it right on the nail with that one, Devin. It was just a situation where we went into that game and we didn't have our bats, and then we ended up getting thumped 14-2, and then we went into the weekend. And I guarantee you, that's not a game where you just, it just fall off your head.
Yeah.
You're gonna be thinking about, I just went over. And we just got beat 14-2, and we finna go into this weekend and play another team that's probably gonna be some really good competition. Mm-hmm. And so, to me, I was just like, that probably was not the best decision for that midweek game. But you know what it is, what it is.
In my opinion, man, I think if you're gonna play a top-ranked D2 team, that's a pre-conference type of game. Yeah. So that's like show you where you're at, show you who you are. Like if you beat them, then all right, well, we got something cooking here. But even if you don't, you still know where we can match up against a team like that. But I'm sure it might not have been on the original schedule, but for them to have to play a top-ranked D2 team right in the middle of conference, it's just, I don't know, it's just hard. It's hard for them to come out with 2 wins. Yeah. For sure.
It is. So I'm going to go ahead and take y'all into this weekend series that they had against MACU. It was an away game series. In game 1, we had Juan back on the mound. He's coming off the injury list, man. The past couple of weeks, I think he had a surgery or something that kept him out. He was our game 1 guy at the beginning of the season, so he's finally back on the mound for us. And he had a pretty good start, man. Through 2 innings, he only gave up 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 walk, and 3 Ks. My question was, I didn't understand the sub at that point in time, so that he only pitched for 2 innings. Now I understand you coming off an injury, so he might be limited. You know, like when they limit the player's minutes coming off an injury. And so I was thinking, maybe it was a situation where, we only wanted to get him in for a little bit, let him go from there and then take him out and go back to our game one guy that we had the past couple of weeks, which is what we did. And it didn't turn out bad, but it wasn't a situation where I think that if Juan maybe stayed in this game, if he was able to, I think we would have been put in a better position. But their pitcher dominated us all game. The only hit we had was a double by JJ, so we had a one-hit game. One-hit game.
Golly.
Which that came in the 3rd inning, and we ended up losing this one 4-0. And so that guy, like I said, it was a situation where you come from a game where not a lot of people were hitting. You didn't build a lot of confidence, and then you go into the weekend and you have the same sort of situation. It's like,
same results.
Same results.
Same
You think to yourself, where would we have been if we would have had a confidence booster instead of a challenge? You know what I'm saying?
True.
And so I will say, though, that a guy throwing a one-hitter is surprising, but the guy that did it, he is legit. I ain't going to take nothing away from him. He's 4-1 on the year, and we had 7 Ks and 8 groundouts. So he was really working on the mound. I talked to some of the guys, and they said it was just a different environment. The mound was a little bit higher. I know, you don't want to make excuses, but it is a different look when you got a guy coming off the mound. Look like it's coming a little harder when it come off a mound that's a little bit taller. But at the end of the day, Buddy was doing his job, and he was legit. And we ended up not scoring in that first game. We ended up losing that one 4-0. Game 2, Matthew came out swinging again, man. They put up 3 in the first and scored one run every inning until the 5th inning. We finally put up a 0 for them. This is another game where our bats, man, they was left at the hotel. I ain't gonna lie to you. We only had 3 hits. We only had 3 hits, man, and we got 1 run across because of an error in the 5th that made it 6-1, MacU. And so, not only that, we had 5 errors along with it. Not a game where we don't do that. We don't.
Yeah.
That's not something that I normally see.
It's like we couldn't let go of that.
Yeah.
You can't let go and move on from the previous games.
Matthews ranked 22, right?
Yeah.
22 best team in the country. You can't have how many errors?
5
we have?
errors.
5. 5 errors is not gonna cut it against even a sorry team. So especially a good team like that, man, you got to come. I mean, if they didn't, obviously the bats weren't working for them, but 5 errors didn't help at all either, especially against a good team. A good team gonna capitalize on that every single time. So, I mean, I feel like that had almost just as much of an effect as the lack of batting that we had.
It definitely does. I mean, when you're not playing your defense, a lot of times, the guy that makes the error is just the way baseball is. He come up to the plate the very next inning, and it's like your defense always affects your offense, because if you're not playing well defensively, sometimes it can bother you offensively when you step up to the plate. Not that it should, but sometimes it just happens that way. So we ended up losing this one 6-1. So we dropped the first 2 games on day 1. So we came out on that Saturday hoping to steal at least 1 in a 3-game series. So game 3, we started out the same as the last one. MacU came out, and after 2 walks, put up a couple hits to score 3. Felix finally got us going offensively with a 2 RBI single in the 3rd to make it 3-2. MacU was up by 1, and so offensively for both teams, we were quiet until the 7th inning. So we started out scoring early, and then after that it was sort of, get them in and get them out, and nobody was really getting anything going offensively. Got down to the end of that game in the 7th inning, so on day 3 it's always a 9-inning game.
Okay.
So in the 7th inning, which is what would have been a normal game for game 1, game 2, we were tied, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, actually, in that 7th inning, we put up 3 more after BP hit a 2-run shot, a 2-run home run, and Riley got on with the single and made his way around due to some wild pitches. And we went up 5-4. And so it's a situation where, okay, we up 5-4, top 7, look, we got to close it out, bottom 7. When you want to win every inning. So if we win that 7th inning, we probably have a lot of confidence going into the 8th and the 9th to close out and steal one from a nationally ranked team. And so what we ended up doing is we subbed out our second baseman and put in another guy. It's not a move that that's odd. We do it often. We always want to put in our best defensive players at the end of the game when we're up, because we want to ensure we make all the plays that we need to make. And so, we'll sub in a guy that might be struggling hitting, but he going to lock it down defensively. But along with that, It's also a gamble because even if he is your best defensive player at that position, he's been sitting for 7 innings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He ain't been in the game for 7 innings. So you throwing him in the game saying, all right, let's go. Be ready for this. You know what I'm saying? And we did this last year. Just last year, we had a series where we were at a tournament, and it came down to the end of the game. We were up by 1, or it was a tie ball game. We put in our best defensive player at second. Cold the whole game. He wasn't sitting. I mean, he was sitting. Comes in the game. First play comes straight to him. Error. Same situation in this game. First play comes to him. He makes an error. And that ended up kicking them off at the beginning of the bottom of the 7th. You always want to get that leadoff run, man.
Yeah.
And not getting the leadoff run puts a lot more pressure, not only on your pitcher, but all of the rest of your defensive players as well. And so they got the leadoff runner on, and then the guy behind him hit a go-ahead home run. Man, so now it's 6-5.
Man,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So now they rolling. And so they went on to win that game, Mac, you went on to win the game 8-5. And some notable players in that one. BP was 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a home run. Riley was 2 for 4 as well. Yeah, that sub. Man, it's. I don't want to put it on the sub because it's not one play. It's not one play that'll win you or lose you the game. But at some point in time, you got to think to yourself, okay, maybe I should just leave who I got in right now. Just roll with what you got right, because you never know where a guy is mentally when he's just sitting on the bench for the entire game.
Get him in sooner.
And I don't like to relate it to basketball, but I don't know who the second baseman is, and we probably not gonna say his name.
Yeah, we ain't gonna
call nobody out. But I'll tell you, I'll be vulnerable. I've been that guy that sat the whole second half. I'm asked to go in the last minute and get 2 stops in a row, and I'll tell you this much. I mean, it's basketball, baseball, 2 different sports, obviously, but man, it's not easy coming in cold. And especially in a clutch moment, you thinking, well, I'm not getting in at all this game. And there you go, name's called. You already checked out, and your name gets called. It's like, man, now you got to play when it matters the most. I mean, this is when you have to get a stop. So, man, I feel for him, but yeah, man, maybe we should have kept on rolling with who was in, but I guess there's nothing he can do. But next time, just be better. That's all you can do. But it's not easy to do what he does either. I'll tell you that much.
It's the same thing as like a pinch hitter offensively. A lot of times coaches, they have a guy that they like to go to when somebody in the lineup is struggling, and it typically happens later in the game. It's like, all right, you got a runner in scoring position, you got a guy coming up to the plate, and you thinking to yourself, all right, this guy ain't been hitting all day. I'm a pinch hit for him. All right, hey, buddy, go warm up, and you finna go in here and hit at the most clutch part of the game, like, even though you've been sitting over here the whole time. But it's but it's the way of the game. It's the nature of the game, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and it's tough because a lot of times it's a lot of pressure on the guy that didn't have anything to do with the rest of the game.
You know what I'm saying? To that point in the clutch game,
and it sucks. But like I said, man, we ended up dropping this series. We got swept. And so that's a rough weekend, but I hope that we go into next weekend, because this weekend is senior night or senior day or whatever it is. And
already?
So yeah, man, because the last 4 series of baseball they're all away.
Really?
Yeah. So they are already at senior night for baseball, man.
So man, that's crazy.
So I hope that they come into this weekend. And it ain't easy, though, because they playing USAO, which is also another nationally ranked team. So we'll get on to that one. We got to go ahead and jump to this next subject, man. We got softball. Softball went into the weekend only 1 game behind second place. They were in 5th place, but 2nd through 5th were all separated by 1 game. And so this was a weekend where we were playing a team that, honestly, we should have swept them. And, we sweep them. We probably put ourselves in a really good position, being maybe top 2, maybe top 3 in conference after the weekend's over with. So let's go ahead and take you guys into this one. Game 1, Addie threw a complete game and held them to 1 run on 3 hits, 1 walk, and 2 Ks. That's a wonderful outing. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking we finna go into this thing, go ahead and take this first game dub. We had a lot of ground outs. She controlled the game very well. Offensively, though, we were quieter than expected. We couldn't really get anything going. Bottom 5, we got a runner on 3rd with 1 out and had 2 ground outs to the left side that spoiled that opportunity to tie it. It really hurts when you got a runner on 3rd, not just 2nd, but 3rd. You just need maybe a fly out to the outfield. You just need a little bit of something. We couldn't get it. Got 2 outs on that one. Then bottom 6, this ground rule double, you guys will see it, by Berkeley, was hit to center field. And, this field, it's got a net around it because they had to cut it off to a certain distance to reach softball's field.
So it's the same.
It's
a
little league field for like baseball guys, but they cut it off. At 200 or 220 because that's typically the size of a softball field. So it's a net.
Yeah.
And as you'll see, the ball went under the net, and when it goes under the net, it's automatically ruled a ground rule double. So instead of it being an RBI triple, it got turned into a double, and the runner that scored had to go back to third. And we ended up not getting that run.
That one hurts.
That
one hurts, man. That one hurts.
I said, man, that's just the roughest way to not score a run, man. And so we ended up losing this one 1-0, man. And the last inning, we also had another opportunity. We had runners on first and second, but we just weren't able to finish in that game. Some notable players in this one was Absidy. She was 2 for 3, and Ariana was 2 for 3 as well. It's just one of those games where we had some opportunities and we just weren't able to capitalize on it. It's a rough loss.
Yeah, it sound like they got a couple bad breaks.
Yeah.
But still, man, I don't know how good Central Christian is, but
they're not.
You definitely want to at least sweep them.
Yeah,
for sure.
You do. I think Central is, I don't want to say they're the last ranked team, but they're at the bottom tier of the conference.
Yeah.
It's a team where you go into that game and you probably think to yourself, we're going to sweep these girls and we're going to do what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, especially coming off of the past 3 weeks, 4 weeks that they've had.
It was on the road.
They've been on the road
for a little minute.
You know.
Probably got to their head a little bit.
Maybe.
Who
knows?
I hope not. Maybe so, man.
Who knows? And so in game 2, the duo has been Addie and Amber, but Amber, I believe, I heard from another player, injured her hamstring, so she wasn't able to pitch in this game. So Clarissa is back off injury, and she was the starter at the beginning of the year, so they sort of switched off of the injury list, man. And so Clarissa, she came out in this one. She came out a little slow, I ain't gonna lie. Central jumped out to a 3-0 lead really quick, man. We were hitting, but it wasn't in bunches. It was one of those situations where we got to hit here, we got to hit here, but we couldn't put them together to score a run, you know what I'm saying? And so they went up 8-2 in the top of the 6th, and it pretty much looked out of reach from there. But bottom of the 7th, we started warming up. We had 4 straight singles by Ariana first, and then Berkeley came right behind her, and then Jenna came right behind her, and then Absidy came right behind her. And so we had bases loaded with 1 out, and we was only down by 4. And so you thinking in this situation, all right, somebody come up, hit a little triple, clear the bases. We back in the game. That's not what happened. We couldn't finish this one, man. We ended up losing this one 8-5. Some notable players from this one was Berkeley. She was 2 for 4 with the RBI. Jaden was 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, and Madison was 2 for 4 as well.
I think the mistake in that game was just let them get out too quick.
You can't
let them get out too quick, man.
Let our team jump out. They gonna get some confidence.
They got too much confidence off that little run, that little 3-0 start, and I don't think we didn't really wake up.
The thing about our girls is, though, it seems like, man, they can heat up in a hurry. And so it's like, man, if we can play like that for 6 innings, 7 innings, man, we would beat anybody.
Yeah, and that's really the thing. And I remember I was talking to Coach Villa, and he was like, man, we did not play good today. And I was like, yeah, Coach, it was a rough one. I was like, well, I hope we come back out the next day and we just handle our business. At least split.
Yeah.
If we get the split, it's all right. It's not what we wanted, but that's better than losing the series.
For sure.
And so came out next day in game 3, and when you drop 2 to that team, you want to know where your team is going to respond. Like, are they going to lay down? Or are they going to come out here and do what they're supposed to do? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so Central came out. They was hungry for the series win, so they came out and jumped up to another 3-0 lead after putting together 4 hits. Yeah, they said, I don't care what y'all thought about us. We finna come out here and hit. They did, bro. Yeah. And so we responded, though, with a double and back-to-back triples to even it back up at 3-3. And from there, we shut them down offensively. They didn't score again. And so that's what I like to see. You know what I'm saying? And so we kept scoring. We put up 4 in the second, 2 in the third, and 5 in the fourth to run rule them 14-4. And that's how you respond.
That's how we know they could play.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad to see that they finally locked in and
they did.
And handled business that game, especially bouncing back from losing 2 straight to a team you should not lose to. So it's good to see them run rule and respond in the right way.
Yeah. We gotta quit spotting them teams 3-0, 5-0
starts.
Like, man, we don't gotta dig ourselves out of a hole every time. We could just start off ahead and be good.
So, that's the big one, man. And so some notable players for this one was Reagan. She was 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Ariana was 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs. So going into game 4, you're thinking to yourself, all right, we need to win this one. We got to win this one. And so Clarissa is back on the mound for this one on the final game. She only gave up 3 runs on 7 hits, 1 walk, and 5 Ks. So it's a really better outing than the first time she came back out from that injury. And so coming out in day 2, it was really good to see her come out and do exactly what she was supposed to be doing. We held them scoreless the first 3 innings, but offensively we couldn't get going either. So it was one of those stalemates. Top 4 though, Central scored 2 to put some pressure on us. We responded in the bottom 5th and scored two runs ourselves due to their mishaps. But hey, you get the runs how you get them. There was 2 unearned runs, but I don't care. It's 2-2.
Yeah, we'll take it.
And so Central scored another in the top of the 7th to go up 3-2. And so in softball they play 7 innings. So that's the last inning.
Shoot, yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So you thinking to yourself, last half inning, okay, now we have to score it or it's over with. You know what I'm saying? And so this is where it got exciting. Jenna came up, started us off with a single over the second baseman. Then Jaden dropped down a beautiful bunt, just absolutely perfect. They couldn't throw out the girl at second. They couldn't throw out the girl that was going down first baseline. So it was just like, all right, cool. Now we got first and second, and we got no outs. All right. So then Madison comes up. She drops down a sack bunt, moves the runners over in the scoring position. So you got second and third. Right. This is fundamental baseball, softball. This is it. You drop the bunt down, you move the runner over. You drop down another bunt, you move those runners over, and now all you need is a basic hit or a fly out. You tie the game, you know. So coach says to himself, now this is what I'm talking about. He said, I'm a pinch hit Addie. You know, she wasn't hitting all game. In the last inning, he said, all right, it's time for you to come on in here and win the game for us. All right? And it's one of those situations where, like I said, this is the nature of the game. Somebody that hasn't been hitting, he said, okay, I need to sub in somebody. I need something going on right here. So he subs in Addie. Addie comes up to the plate. Runners in second and third scoring position. I think we had 1 out at the time. She come up, drills it to center field. Scored both of the runs, ended up walking that one off 4-3.
Ball game, man.
So shout out to you, Addie. That's big right there. That's big time right there.
That's how you end the series.
It is.
Your name is called, man. She went out there and did her thing still. But maybe the baseball team, I ain't throwing shade, but the baseball team, earlier we talked about how they need to start laying some bunts down instead of going for the hero play. So baseball team, if y'all watch this, man, y'all need to look at the softball team and use them as an example, man. They was both them players being selfish to get the team to win and end up working out in their favor, man. So
yeah, I think being selfless in the game of baseball is gonna win you a lot more games than trying to be a hero. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's always gonna win you a lot more games. But shout out to y'all for coming back day 2 and doing what y'all supposed to do. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next subject because I don't want to cut off these other subjects. We're gonna go into men's golf. Men's golf is at the Battle at Laughlin, and I'm gonna say this was probably the best tournament you could probably go to in golf in the IA. You know how many teams they had in the top 25 that was in this tournament, man?
how many?
They had, 8 ranked teams in this tournament. There were 17 teams, and 8 of them were ranked. Kaiser was in this tournament. They was first in the nation. I don't know what's the acronym for OOZ or whatever it is. What's that? Ottawa? Is that Ottawa?
Ottawa University, Arizona.
Okay. Yeah. So Ottawa was 3rd in the nation. They were in this tournament. Texas Wesleyan, 5th in the nation. Of course, Wayland, we're 8th in the nation. Oklahoma City's in this, 12th in the nation. Southeastern Christian. No, not Southeastern Christian. Southeastern University, 11th in the nation. Houston Victoria, 18th in the nation. And Bellevue, 20th in the nation. I'm like, oh my goodness. This is a tournament where you go, you go into this tournament, you thinking to yourself, okay, I'm finna make a name for myself.
You can just show up and play your Tiger in the red Nike shirt game. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta show up and play your game that day, man.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And so that's exactly what we did. After round 1, we were in 3rd place with a score of 292. So we was ahead of some other teams that were ranked above us nationally. And so that was really good to see. After round 2, we made our way into 2nd place, scoring 292 again. That put us 1 stroke out of 1st place going into the last round. I'm thinking to myself, hold on.
Yeah, we got a chance here.
We got a chance to make some real noise. I mean, I know they already nationally ranked. Everybody already know Wayland men's golf is certified. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, to beat everybody else, that's big ups. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, we're going into round 3. If anything, just shoot exactly what y'all been shooting. We ain't do that. Round 3, we scored 296, which it hurt us a little. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't what we needed. And we ended up tying for 4th place with Oklahoma City with a total score of 880. We tied for 4th out of 17 teams, 8 ranked teams, like I said. Benjamin had another good tournament in round 1. He shot a score of 72, which was par. It was even with par. Round 2, he shot 67, which was 5 under par.
Yeah, he was
5 under par. That put him in second place overall. That put him in second place. And I was thinking to myself, dang, boy, a 5 under par. What you doing?
5 under. Yeah, he was out of his mind, bro.
For real. And then round 3, he ended up shooting 5 over par. And that put him at even again with par. And so that finished him at 8th overall with a score of 216, which 8th out of 97 contestants.
Now that's considered a win.
That's considered a win.
Considered a win. that is what we consider a win and go.
Yeah, 8 out of 97 contestants. I mean, it would have been lovely if you would have got that first place because you was right there, my boy. You was right there. But it's I'll take 8th out of 97. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And he already had a tournament win, earlier in the year. So big shout out to you, Benjamin, man. And then Carson wasn't far behind him. He ended up shooting a 218, which was 2 over par for the total, and that ended up being 11th out of 200. I mean, out of 97 consistent.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah, so we had two guys in that top 15, man. So that's really good. We dropped 2 places though in the latest top 25. Some of those teams before these rankings came out were ranked underneath us. We were ranked 6th, and so losing to some of those other teams, we ended up dropping a couple of places, and so we dropped to 8th. So it's all right. 8th ain't bad.
Yeah,
we still got some motion, going forward. Hopefully we end up in that top 5 before the national tournament comes around.
That would be nice, but I mean you can never complain with 8th out of hundreds of teams. So they did what they were supposed to do.
They played against a ton of competition. I felt like pressure was on for sure, but they showed out. Tying for 4th. Against all these great teams.
Definitely.
It's something to be proud of.
Yeah, it is. And we're going to keep this one going. They'll be at the Roadrunner Classic in Dalton, Georgia, starting Sunday. Women's golf will be at the Susie Maxwell Burning Classic, like I said, in Oklahoma City. We're going to take it to the last subject, man. We got track and field at the Eastern New Mexico University Greyhound Open. On the men's side, placing first, Keyshawn Garcia placed first in 800 meter with a time of 1:52.53. Evans placed first in the 1,500 meter with 4 minutes, 2 seconds. Right behind Keyshawn in that 800 as well, so he was showing out. In the 400 meter hurdle, DeAndre Harris was first place as well with 56.22 time. In the long jump, Lorenzo Lucis, I'm always saying his name, 6.9 meter jump. Triple jump, Lorenzo Lucis first again with 14.33 meter jump, and he was the SAC player of the week for track on the men's side. So shout out to you, Lorenzo. On the women's side, placing first in the 400 meter, Shanielle Graham was first with a time of 1:85. And so a lot of the other events in the girls, they didn't have a lot of other contestants. A lot of the other events, it was literally just us. And so, you placed first. I mean, that's cool, but at the end of the day, we weren't really competing with nobody else, so I'm sorry. So certified nominees, I'm going to let y'all vote on this. Lorenzo, who was player of the week, SAC player of the week, or Benjamin, who placed 8th out of 90, almost 100 people against some real tough competition.
True.
And he shot 5.
Yeah, Benjamin's fast.
That 5 under is just impressive, man.
But let me ask you this.
Okay.
Who was it that walked off the softball team?
Addie Rich.
I'm putting her up too, bro. She gotta go up too.
Go ahead.
She gotta go up too.
Go ahead.
But Lorenzo and Benjamin, both worthy. They're both worthy of the certified, but I'm gonna put Addie's name in there too, man, because when you can easily lose a series that can hurt you, and you need to you absolutely have to make a play, and she made it. That's big time to me. So I'm putting, I'm gonna give her props for that.
I like that. Sure. All right, going to you. What you got for me?
So put it perfect, man. But them 3, them 3 deserve it. Like I said, Benjamin shooting 5 under, to me that's insanely impressive. And then Lorenzo, SAC player of the week for track, placing first in 2 events. And then Addie walking off when the moment's big. A lot on the line, not just for that game alone, but for the conference, for our standings, for the season. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big play for the season. So, I mean, all 3 of those is very well deserved. So,
you got to pick one.
I don't know if I can pick one.
You got to pick one. He picked Addie.
I pick Addie.
He picked Addie. You got to pick one.
I'm probably going to pick Benjamin. That 5 under just.
That was cold, too. I ain't gonna lie.
I like Addie. I'm going to shout you out. And you're an honorable nominee for me. I'm sorry. But I got to go with Benjamin.
No, yeah,
I got to go with Benjamin.
I don't hate that take at all. I don't hate that.
I got to go with Benjamin. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up, man. I'm going to talk to y'all about these upcoming games. Thursday, track and field will be headed to West Texas, Joe Meeker Classic. So another track meet for them. I hope they come back with some more competition and some more first places. You know what I'm saying? And Friday this weekend, baseball versus USAO at 2 and 5 on Friday, and then Saturday I believe they will be doing the senior night ceremony on that day. Baseball versus USAO again at 1. Softball will be at OCU this weekend against the number 2 team in the nation, Oklahoma City.
Here we go.
So, big games this weekend. USAO nationally ranked for baseball, OCU nationally ranked for softball, track and field going to West Texas. I hope y'all come back and give me something real good to talk about next week.
Let's get some W's this weekend.
Absolutely. And that's all we got for y'all this week, man. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys same time next week.
Appreciate it, bro.